Hola a todos. Welcome back to MetaFit MetaMind podcast, a podcast in which speakers, leaders, entrepreneurs, and influencers come in and share their journey on how they've gotten to this place in their life, while also normalizing those conversations between both physical and mental health and wellness. I am Carla Rodriguez, your host, your coach, and trainer of NLP, and I created this space to remind you to raise your voice and share your story. As your guide, I'm here to create a pathway to let go of all those limiting chains and use this platform to empower and create awareness, purpose, and expansion in your life. You can follow us on Instagram at MetaFit MetaMind Podcast, or you can follow me at Coach Carlita. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, another episode in the books. This is so exciting because this is one thing that has been kind of a challenge, right? And just navigating through this. So I hope that you have been listening to the last 3 episodes because they're all so good. And listen to even before that. It's been a really, really great week this week, or I should say ending of February into month of March. This week was the Abundance Now Summit, in which I was a featured speaker, and it was such a powerful event with others who I have been following for a while, like Stephanie Garcia, Dr. David Snyder, Brian Buck, Sean Q, who are the hosts of this event. And I can say, honestly, it was a great start to this year, for sure. Another thing that I'm really excited about is that this April, there is a powerful event that, along with Ashton Rondon and another powerful coach and writer, Roxy, will be hosting. So listen up for any updates on that. And possibly in the next podcast episode, there will be those updates. Now, my last update is that this summer is the next cohort of the NLP certification training with the MMA. Join me for 5 days of powerful breakthroughs, reframes, know how to anchor yourself and how you want to feel instead. And even, of course, pepper in that fun as we learn and connect together. And with that, November 5th through the 8th is the first ever cohort of MMA's hypnosis certification training as part of your Quantum World coursework. It's a week full of diving into understanding the unconscious mind and why hypnosis? I mean, why not? It's something that you can become a master of trance and become an extraordinary hypnotist that guides others towards their transformations, their successes. Again, the NLP certification training is happening this June 17th through the 21st, and the hypnosis certification is on November 5th through the 8th. And right now is the early bird pricing for both that's available, so let me know if you want details on that. Remember to share the podcast with people you think would like it, rate it, subscribe to it so you don't miss the updated episodes. And of course, listen on Apple Podcasts, Google, Castbox, all those platforms, and make sure to just give me some reviews in there. Always appreciate it. All right, so in this episode, I actually really geeked out because I had a fun time with my amazing guest, Ana Robles, who is the founder of Yo Soy Amazing. She's a powerful expert in mindset and success in business and life. Ana is so amazing because just like me, she's one of a few Latina NLP trainers that I know of. She's someone who knows firsthand what it's like to be struggling and pretend that everything is okay. And she has found the courage to dream again and redefine herself. Ana is a highly trained NLP master practitioner and trainer, and she is here to help one person at a time be the best version of themselves. So please listen to her journey, to her story, and enjoy the episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for being back here at MetaFit MetaMind podcast with me. And I'm really excited about today's episode. I mean, I feel like I'm always excited about my guests who come on to very powerful people. But today, the very specific person who I met recently is Ana Robles with Yo Soy Amazing. And the reason I'm excited, for one, is that we're both in the NLP world, trainers, coaches, but also she's someone who's got a really cool, like, powerful story, something that will help you hopefully get inspired and just go for those things and just be amazing. So thank you so much, Anna.
No, thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to just having a conversation with you. And if there's anything that I say and share and it actually has a ripple or an impact in someone's life, then we've done our job.
Exactly. That's the purpose, I think. One of the purposes is to make it a ripple effect. Just keep it from one message to another to another. And I know if some of the episodes get shared. So yeah, so I'm really excited for you to be on and probably get into the little bit of the NLP jargon at some point. So
You
I
can't help
first
it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of a in it's that that unconscious competence at this point where we're just like it's in.
Mhm.
So first, I want to start with just asking you, Anna, like from your perspective, who is Anna?
Who is Anna? Wow,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many different layers
Mm-hmm.
that we get to discover as we're growing up. So I'm Mexican. I was born in Mexico. I am the oldest of four kids,
Wow.
and I have this passion for always helping people, and I've done that since I can remember. And I know that part of it is seeing my parents, special, both my parents, especially like
Mm-hmm.
my dad, I would see them, they'd be willing to take their shirt off their back to help people. So
Yeah.
something that is part of who I am. I would say I'm a loving sister, loving daughter. I'm a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a business owner, but I'm also this passion of helping people has led me to where I am today.
Yep.
And, I'm not perfect. I am a human being just like everybody else. I've had my ups and downs. I've had my lessons in life. I'm at a place that whatever happens, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And I have tools to get out of the holes that I've been in before.
Yeah, that's really cool that you're talking about the journey on how you've gotten here. And so with that, I'll just go straight into it. Like, what is that your journey, like something that you want to share that was like, all right, I'm moving in that direction, and now you're here doing the amazing things that you're doing now.
It's a good question. So, you know, if I can share anything, we
Mm-hmm.
have the subconscious mind, this inner voice that is always talking to us. And a lot of times we stop listening to it. And I remember being in high school. I could literally still see myself sitting in my second, I think no, it was third period
Mm-hmm.
and of my sophomore year, and I was at a classroom, and it was the very first time that they offered this class, and it was something about entrepreneurs. And I remember sitting there in class, and you're only what, 15, 16 years old. You're
Yeah.
so you don't even know what you want to do in life. But I
Yeah.
knew at that moment that I was very interested in psychology,
Mm-hmm.
and then I fell in love with this class of entrepreneurship. It's like,
Cool.
huh, I could be my own boss. I never
Yeah.
even thought about it. And so that's where the seeds were planted.
Yeah.
And then, summer comes around and you go to junior year and different things, get thrown at you, or you experience different things. Yet, I experience more of the psychology, but then you start growing up. So now it's like, okay, where am I going to go to college? What am I still going to do for my career? So I'm looking and analyzing things, and I realize like, I don't think I want to go to 8 more years of schooling after college, because I was thinking of psychology and I was looking at the expand of time. So, that little voice I had telling me, like, go to
Yeah.
psychology, go help people.
Yeah.
I went shh, like shush it down.
Oh, yeah.
I went to do what I thought was best for me. And I was like, go work in corporate America, go to school, get an education. And I did that.
Yeah.
When you don't listen to that inner voice, it's always gonna come back and it's gonna start knocking and say, "Hey, I think we need to like explore this." And it
Yeah.
did that. I remember
Awesome.
10, 15 years later, walking at the Rose Bowl in which is in Pasadena, California,
Cool. Yeah.
and I would go walking after work, yeah, and so it's about a 3-mile, loop just around the Rose Bowl. So I would walk there and my thoughts would be like, Anna, maybe we should consider doing something different. Like, what would you wanna do?" And
Mhm.
the thought of helping people would always come back, and I was like, "Yeah, but I don't think I could be a doctor or a nurse because I don't
Mhm.
like to deal with blood and all of that."
Yeah.
So so those thoughts come,
Mhm.
and when we don't listen to it, it's gonna like, I kinda
Really,
shush it
yeah.
away again,
Yeah. We
and
wanna do
then
what the shoulds and what everybody else is like, this is the safe route, you know?
Right. So I
Mhm,
did that again, right? And then life or things show up in our life because we're meant to do something different. So there was budget cuts, so I was let go of the of where I was working at. So it gave me an opportunity to like, well, maybe I could explore being an entrepreneur.
mhm,
I wasn't totally ready for it. My mindset wasn't there. So I
mhm.
explored it for a little bit, went back to safety of corporate America. And again, don't listen to that inner voice.
Yeah.
And, and then as I'm going through corporate America and I'm enjoying life, I'm enjoying it, I start to realize there's more to life. What else can I do?
Mhm.
And so, the shiny object was dangled in front of me, which was the worst thing at that time, but it was also the best thing that could have happened for me.
Mhm.
And through that experience, I realized that I needed to leave corporate and then really focus and listen to the inner voice. And that's when I came across NLP, which ends up being psychology in the end.
Yes. Yeah, it's heavy heavy psychology, all the therapists, experts, and everything like that. So, I think that's amazing that it's like this little voice just kept following you, or it never left, really. And then it's like, "Oh, I see you, I hear you. Let me, like, look at what's here, though." And then finally, now that you accepted and you're like, "Yes, that's the voice that I was meant to listen to, not that I was supposed to listen to." How has that process been for you now, like, that you've dove in and you've gone this process of entrepreneurship and doing the cool things that I know that you're doing?
It's been amazing. It's had its ups and downs as well. At first I dove into NLP
Mhm.
for healing of myself,
Yeah.
because when I left corporate,
Mhm.
I it became a toxic environment. I actually, like I said, the shiny object syndrome, something was presented to me. It was like this little carrot and I
Yeah.
followed it. I thought it was going to be the best thing. Yet, it presented a lot of challenges, and they were not all necessarily me,
Mhm.
knowing what I know now. And so it put me in a place where I was feeling so lost. I was scared. I had just signed a mortgage for, for my property where I live at.
Mhm.
So it's like, what if I lose my job? So
Yeah.
all of that stuff was playing in my head. So when I came across NLP, I thought it was going to just help me with like figure out a business. What it
Mhm.
really did was a lot of healing,
Yeah.
so much healing, so much empowerment. And
Yes.
I was able to see how these people were showing up in my life as a mirror for me to heal certain things or to overcome certain things. So therefore, yeah, it was a bad thing, but it was also a good thing.
Yeah.
So then I come to NLP, I take it because I just, I was going to be a better entrepreneur, or I was going to be able to figure out what I was going to do in life. Once I realized how much healing it did for me, I thought about like, if I was feeling this way, how many other people are feeling that way?
Yes.
And so I started the process of becoming a trainer, and and again, I'm not an entrepreneur. I mean, I've been in corporate and I was working for big companies, so I didn't
Mhm.
know what networking was. I didn't know different things. I knew how to run a business. I knew strategy. I knew system. But
Mhm.
there's things that are lacking when you jump into an entrepreneurship because you really are now just working for yourself. It becomes a little lonely.
Yes.
So it's about surrounding yourself with people that are going to support you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
And
think that's interesting that you said that for you it was healing, and that it was, you came in for the business aspect because it does teach you how to communicate and how to sell and all these things, which is really great and amazing because you not only sell to like someone in your business, but also to your family and to your friends. We're selling ourselves constantly. But it's really cool that you said that it was healing because unfortunately, I've heard that before, that in the corporate space, it didn't turn out the way that it could have, or that we wanted it to. And so the healing part I really love because eventually it becomes more of a lifestyle. It's not just a thing that we put in a that we read in a book and then we use it just specifically. It's like it just becomes part of our lifestyle, which is something that I truly appreciate from this. And so for me, like a little bit in comparison to you, was that I didn't know what NLP was, and I kind of dove in. When I went in, I was like, "All right, I'm in," and it definitely was healing too. Healing fears and healing even body pains. And I don't like to say the word healing too much, but for me personally, it like honestly helped not only like the thoughts and the stories that we tell ourselves, and what we've heard in our environment, but also the from that my body would experience that. And so then my body went through shifts as well. And I joked with a couple friends that even my voice changed a little bit because of how powerful those breakthroughs were. So it's really great that that was healing for you. And also that you're sharing it with others too. We talked a little bit about this when we first met, was like now we want to share this with the community, and with other Latinas, which I think is cool that we're both doing this.
I'm so glad that you brought up the aspect of how it affects our body,
Mhm.
because we don't realize how our emotions get attached to certain parts of our body.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's so interesting you say that, because while I was in corporate, for some weird
Uh-huh.
reason, I kept injuring one of I think it was my left ankle, or was it my right ankle? Yeah, one of
Oh,
my ankles, and I kept injuring it, not
yeah.
really understanding what that was. And it was really just emotions that were like attached to my body. And as I released that, it's like, oh, like I
Yeah.
could walk and run and I could do all
Crazy,
these sorts of,
right? Yeah, like I
yeah.
used to suffer a lot of back pain, and I didn't notice it immediately, but like a few months after, I said, "Whoa." I even told my trainer, I said, "I don't feel that back pain anymore." I was like, "What happened to that back pain?" So it's really cool. And one thing I think about that is like that little voice that was telling you entrepreneurship, and then you're like, "No, no, no, corporate safe," and then entrepreneurship. And then your leg, whichever one it was, I don't know, but German medicine, it's like, what step are you not taking forward, in this direction that you can be taking for yourself?
And that's exactly it. Now, our unconscious mind records everything. And it just when you said that right now, it just told me it was in my male energy, which is my
Mhm,
business part,
mhm.
where I was feeling that maybe a little bit of unsupported, because I
Yeah.
was not supporting myself into like listening to that voice, and not supporting myself to take that step.
Mhm.
And once we take that step, it's like it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I wanna ask too in this perspective, of being I like to say one of the few now Latina and NLP trainers in the US, you know, what is something that as, coming from this background, and I don't like to divide, but also just the experience, how has that experience been to share with the community? Like what's something that you want to do as this trainer of NLP, yeah, with the community for one, because when I first got into it, like, I wanted to share with mi gente latina, but for some reason, coaching is like, "Oh, como terapia?" We're like, it's not really, It's like, "Oh, pero tengo que pagar por" we have all these, like, thoughts, and, like, we have to pay for self-development, like, how has that process been?
Yes, it's a little bit challenging,
Mhm.
because, a lot of people from, and not everyone,
Yeah.
because I do have, like, family still in Mexico, and I mention it to, like, my cousins, and they're like, "Oh, I love NLP," or
Yeah.
PNL, like they call
PNL,
it.
yeah.
And, so or they're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not everybody is
Mhm.
exposed to personal development. I am seeing a lot more people in the realm
Cool.
of personal development, and I'm seeing some big names.
Mhm.
I've seen an actor that is now, I think, 2 Mexican actors that
Oh,
gone
nice.
into
Yeah.
the realm of personal development and
Yeah.
coaching. So
Mhm.
with that exposure, I think it's going to help us, but
Yeah.
that's done in Latin America. So
Yeah.
if they're spending a lot of time in like Mexico and that, but not bringing it to where we are in
Mhm.
the US,
Here in
I
the
think,
US.
and this is
Mhm.
where we're at. So we're
Yep.
dealing with first generation
Yes.
Latinos. We're dealing with people that are not exposed to it. And
Mhm.
realistically speaking, we are sharing an intangible.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah, the
most people,
tangibles come from that intangible, weirdly enough.
right? And so
Mhm.
people are used to like, well, I'm gonna give you money for this, but they're
Mhm.
not used to seeing that result. And they're like, there's that trust issue.
Yeah.
Does this really
Mhm.
work? Because we've also heard like, I've gone to a curandero and they didn't
Uh-huh.
help me.
Yeah.
So how do I
Mhm.
know you're gonna help me? So it's really, it's really showing up and really getting them to trust you, and
Mhm.
really, and it's not getting them to trust you, it's
Mhm.
showing them that they can trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you mentioned it in the beginning, is creating this ripple effect. And they're doing this in Latin America. And hopefully that, I know that that's creating a ripple effect. And the fact that we found this, I think, is just really fun and amazing and powerful. So let me ask you this, in this process of you going through this journey, and we already touched on it, like we've already talked about this, in the podcast. I called it Meta Fit, Meta Mind because we have the metas to be fit, not just physically, but also where we fit in our life, and the metas to take care of our mind. So in your own personal experience and that correlation between mental and physical health, how has that been for you?
Okay, so it's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of my body and very conscious of what I'm feeding my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced one class, and it's the the master practitioner class, where
Uh-huh.
we do the modeling exercise.
Yeah.
And so I've done it I attended as a student once, and then I've attended, I think, 2 classes or 3 classes as a coaching assistant. And I remember 2 years ago going there as a coaching assistant, and we
Uh-huh.
did the modeling exercise. And the energy that you build, like in your
Uh-huh.
body when you're about to do this exercise.
Mhm.
And I remember after the class, it was graduation. After that exercise was graduation for the class, and then we went out to eat as the coaching assistants.
Mhm.
So there's a period of maybe 3 hours or so that happened after this exercise. Then I drive home, which was another 45 minutes. I had
Wow.
this energy,
Yeah.
and I couldn't like release it.
Really?
And so I was never in the past a runner. I
Mhm.
remember coming home, thank God it was summer. It was like, or in the summertime or late summertime. I remember coming home, putting on my shorts, putting on my tennis shoes, putting on a t-shirt. And I was like, I'm just gonna go for a walk.
Yeah.
So I start walking, and I like, kid you not, about quarter of a mile from my house, I just started running. Like,
Wow.
literally
Yeah.
started running, and I just kept going, and I have never done that in my life. So I remember running, like, over, like, a mile or something,
Mhm.
and or more than that, and I came home, and then the next I was like, "Where did that come from?"
Yeah.
And now it's become a habit,
Yeah.
so I can now say I'm a runner, and it
Yeah.
was all due to this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And right now that you're mentioning this, and also your Instagram handle, right? And I think I saw one of your stories where you're talking about like Yo Soy, right? And you're like, I am a runner now. This concept of identity is so big, right? It's like, who are you? But I feel like that shifts constantly, or if we choose it to change too, right? And the fact that you said after this, I was so energized, and then I went running, and now I do it, and now you can identify with I am a runner. And I think that's so powerful. And I hope maybe someone can take it like that I am statement is just it's huge. And I was like, when I saw your story the other day, I was like, oh, like I love talking about identity. So for you, that the identity shift as an entrepreneur, I think you are not to be like play on words here, but you are amazing, like. So how did you come up with that? Like, yo soy amazing.
Okay. So, for some reason, I've always liked the word amazing.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was in corporate, there was this woman in another department, and we would work closely together because
Yeah.
we took care of the high end accounts. So every time she would call me, or she would call my line,
Mhm.
she would say, "I'm fabulous," and then I would
Uh-huh.
always say, "I'm amazing."
Uh-huh.
And so it just became something that we kept repeating to each other
Yeah.
every couple hours, or every other day, or however we needed to have
Mhm.
this conversation, or if we bump into each other on the hallway, we would just say that to ourselves.
Mhm.
And so that word amazing is just a word that I identify with.
Yeah.
And, after going through the personal journeys of personal development, I realized that the 2 most powerful words
Mhm.
any being can say to themselves is, whatever you say is "I am,"
Mhm.
it's an instruction that
Yes.
you're giving yourself to believe, and the more you say it, the more you become. So, "I am" are the 2 most powerful words in any language. Being that I am Latina, being that I am Mexican, being that Spanish is my first language, I decided to combine my cultures, I like my who I identify with, because I am Mexican American. So, I decided to say "Yo soy" and then "amazing."
Yeah. That's
And
fun.
so and so I have a belief, and that could just be my belief, that your unconscious mind can understand the words in different languages. So even though you may not speak Spanish and you say "Yo soy amazing," you are really telling yourself, "I am amazing," anytime
Mhm.
you repeat my business name. So in a way, it's a little bit of a gift that I'm gifting you when you say my business name.
Yes, yes. And it's I love that it is a suggestion. And I think maybe because we're bilingual, our unconscious I don't know, right? It could be different, but the fact that we're bilingual, it's easy for our unconscious mind to accept it. And I always explain to clients like your unconscious mind is like the 5-year-old who thinks they are the superhero, right? When my stepson was I think he was 7 or 8 at the time, he would pretend to be this superhero, and then one time I asked him, I said, "Hey, Alex, when you like, what do you think when you pretend to be the superhero?" He's like, "I am the superhero," you know? Or even the little cousin, he would say, "I'm Sonic," he would be Sonic, and so they would go and choose to run, and they were fast, they were like these little kids, like the battery power, the bunny with the battery thing, they're just like going and going, right? Because they believe that this is who they are. And I don't know, one of my beliefs is that kids believe these things about themselves and they are. And I think that's something that we can probably borrow from them as like adults at this point is sometimes we forget that we can be that like creative, but we can also have that belief in ourselves and identify with I am amazing, yo soy amazing, I'm powerful, whatever that is. So yes, the fact that you gift our audience with Yo Soy Amazing, that's fun. And also, the other thing I was gonna add to that I thought about was when we change languages, I also think we become that. I don't know what you think about that.
Oh, I totally believe
Okay.
that. I
Yeah.
believe that we become, and I believe that we embody that.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think that's really fun that you did that. I also, MetaFit MetaMind, that's exactly where I came from was blending the two languages, metas, which also, in NLP, the meta model, the all this like stuff. I was like, whoa, that just like my unconscious mind either like read the future or who knows, but I've been using meta for a while. So
Right? And then
mm,
meta's goal.
yes,
Like, you're fit for your
exactly.
goal.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Love
Yeah,
it.
so let me ask you this, talking about goals, actually, this is perfect. What are some goals that you have for you or for your business? Like what's something that you want to share with the audience that they'd be like, you know what? I want to go talk to Ana because yo soy amazing.
Thanks for asking that question. So I am going through this revamping, rebranding, not rebranding, a revamping of my business, but more of a simplifying it. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I think we get all over the place. I want to do this, I want to do that. So I'm working with a business coach right now, and she's really helping me see and clarify all the thoughts that are going on in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm only going to focus on 2 things, and
Mm-hmm.
that is, for the business owner
Mm-hmm.
that needs some mentorship and needs the accountability, that
Mm-hmm.
needs to understand the systems and strategies, at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
working with what's in between our ears, our unconscious, subconscious mind,
Yes.
sometimes those are the things that are really holding us back. Like some I work with some clients that they don't want to look at the numbers in their business. And the
Yeah.
reason they don't wanna look at the numbers, there's an emotion attached to it. It's a fear, and
Mhm.
so helping them work through that fear of the numbers and
Mhm.
learn to love the numbers. So that's one aspect of
Cool.
my business that I'm really focusing on. And then this year, I'm really relaunching NLP, and I really wanted not I used to do it only in person.
Uh-huh.
I used to teach NLP locally here, and I still plan on doing some of that. I want to teach it online.
Cool.
I want to
Yeah.
bring NLP online, and I want to be able to help more people this year.
Mhm.
And I figure if I teach it online, I could connect with more people, not necessarily just here in my local community, but maybe someone in Northern California,
Yep.
maybe someone that moved to Mexico and now lives in San Miguel Allende
Oh,
and
it's
wants to
possible.
take NLP,
Yeah.
NLP. So that's how I want to be able to help. So I just want to focus on those two things, help people in those two areas.
Yeah, that's fun. I'll tell you this, you will get connected with the people online. So, for those of you, if you are in California, in New York, in Canada, in Russia, I don't know why that came up, but who knows? You can connect with Anna. She's doing online trainings. I do online training since I started, and it is a very powerful way to connect and for people to share the lifestyle, the everything. So I'm excited. I'm really, really, really excited for this. The fact that you're doing NLP trainings, I'm doing NLP trainings. Like it's just like, all right. So also I'll just say this, like next time you have an NLP training, let me know if you do it online. Maybe I can go assist as well. I love assisting.
I would love
So
that. I would
yeah.
really love that. Yeah. And of course, if you ever have time and want to come over and assist my NLP class, I would love to have you. And
Yeah.
I think I think that there's enough people that you and I can connect with
Mhm.
because it's about the personalities as well. But I
Yeah.
really enjoyed getting to know you, hanging
Thank
out
you.
with you, and yeah, let's do that. Let's
Yeah.
collaborate in
Yeah.
helping each
So
other out.
that's the cool thing I've learned also with NLP is that, the perspective, perception is projection, like what we are projecting and how someone can mirror us, how we're like, I can learn from Anna, like maybe I can help the online space or something, like or something like that. Like we all help each other and I'm always all about like celebrating each other's wins and celebrating each other's growth because even if we're both NLP trainers, like we're in two different areas. Our journeys are different. Like we're always going to connect with someone different and maybe some will be similar. But in entrepreneurship, I think too that in my mind, it's an old thought that you're like competing and you have to like win. And yeah, like some people I still have that kind of like values level thinking. But I think it's also really amazing when people can like celebrate each other because that gives you more positive energy and that gives you more of like yeah, like when you're in positive energy, when you're having fun, then it's easier to bring in and magnetize more of what you want rather than what you don't want, right? That's what we talk about a lot in this space. And yeah, it's something I've learned, right? To not be an effective, like, oh my God, Anna's doing NLP trainings. Like, am I gonna, like, there's no longer a thing. I'm like, yeah, let's celebrate each other, like a small win, a big win. You're on a podcast, you're doing your training, whatever that is. So I'm really excited. So if people want to join your NLP trainings when you do that, or for the strategies and the accountability, where can people find you?
I'm spending a lot of time on Instagram.
Okay.
So connect with me on Instagram, send me a DM. I will love to just start a conversation and see if we're a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be the coach for you or not, or you may not be the student. And if you're not, maybe then you could go to Carla or vice
Yeah.
versa.
Or we'll
And
refer you to someone.
right, we'll refer you to someone. And I love the fact that you said that we're not competing
Mm-mm.
because we truly are not. And when we do the work that you and I both do,
Mm-hmm.
it really is about helping people step into their own power
Mm-hmm.
because of that ripple effect that it was going to have in their community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the ripple effect. It's people I think underestimated it and it's there and I'm excited about it. So I really, really appreciate you, Ana, for being on here. For those of you, her Instagram is yo_soy, SOY_amazing. I'll put the link in the show notes, but I just wanted to put it out there to put it in the universe and people go to you. So thank you so much, Ana.
Thank you.
Okay, so I had so much fun having these conversations with Ana, with Yo Soy Amazing. Again, go follow her on Instagram at yo_soy_amazing. I just love having, well, first of all, when it gets to NLP, I love having conversations. I geek out. I'm like, how are we helping clients? What did it do for us? How are we sharing this with the world? So yeah, it's really great. If you want to know more about NLP, we're going to be doing lives starting next week, or at this point when you're listening to this episode or watching this, we've already started. So keep up with us on Instagram and just, be following and listening and, watching all these videos. So here's a couple of things that I learned from having this conversation with Ana that I think is really powerful. For one, the first thing that I learned was the unconscious mind believes what we tell it. So if you say, Yo soy amazing, I am amazing, then your unconscious mind is listening, and then it'll tell your body, your mind, your body what to do. So, be aware of that conversation that you're having internally, because that can lead you or stray you away from your success. So go in, really observe what that looks like, and are you where you want to be at in your career, in your entrepreneurship, as a leader, because your unconscious mind grasps that like you have no idea. It's that we touched on it a little bit. It's like that 5-year-old that believes that it's Sonic, right? So if you are a powerful, amazing speaker, then you are a powerful, amazing speaker. So be aware of your I ams in that process, okay? The second thing that I learned was that you may want to listen to that little voice in your head, or, see what you are imagining, how you picture yourself in the future, because sometimes that wants you to succeed. And just because the rest of society is telling us to do it in this specific way, does that mean that it's really, truly for you? Think about it. If you are not where you're at, maybe there's something there that you've maybe been quieting down that maybe doesn't resonate with you. Maybe it doesn't align with where you're going or what you want with your life at the present. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is when we are in this self-development world, or when you first get into self-development, you wonder, what is tangible, what is intangible to me? And one thing that I don't think I've ever had in some of the episodes, or most of the episodes, is really this thought about, what do you get when you get into the self-development? A big part of that is a more untangible thing, because it's an internal change, it's an internal growth that then exudes outwardly. And once you're able to align those things, that's when you start to see these gains, get the gains, see the gains, get the gains, get the tangibles, get the car, get the person that you wanted to attract in your life, the friendships, the groups, that's where the tangible comes in. But you got to do the intangible work in order to follow your path, your purpose, right? On purpose, to get the tangibles in your life. So those are a few things that I learned from this episode. I hope that you enjoyed this story, how she, has been on this journey. Go follow her, like I said. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your Apple Podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And the last thing I want to say is thank you so much for listening and watching up to this point. My name is Carla Rodriguez. Whoa, why did I say that like that? Sometimes the language things. My name is Carla Rodriguez. This is MetaFit MetaMind podcast, where we're normalizing conversations that we would have never had. So raise your voice and share your story. Till next time.